This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The program a little differently today. You listen to this program, you know that the Police Athletic League PAL saved my life. When I was hungry during summer camp, PAL fed us. Gave us 2 shirts for summer camp and our green little tote bags. I'll always remember that. PAL kept me off the streets here in New York City. I was a PAL kid even before they built the big center at 183rd and Webster Avenue in the Bronx. No PAL, no me. And as was predicted in my case, without PAL, I would have been dead or in jail. With me now is Dr. Steve Cohen, who is the president and CEO of the National Association of Police Athletic Leagues, National PAL, and in his role, he oversees over 300 chapters across the country. Mr. Cohen, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start by, I want you to tell the audience a little bit of what PAL does.
Well, Dominic, thank you very much. And your story really explains what PAL does, your experience of growing up as a young person in need of all sorts of services, but mostly support and mentoring. What PAL does is connect kids and cops. That's what we do at the core. And in doing that, we provide mentoring, we provide food, housing, all sorts of services, a lot of sports activities, STEM programs. PAL is a comprehensive organization that works at the local level. The New York City PAL is one of the strongest in the nation. In fact, it's the oldest in the nation. It was started in 1914.
Wow. 1914. So I know firsthand why PAL is important, and that's why I wanted you here with me today. How many states is the Police Athletic League involved with?
So we're in all 50 states.
Fantastic. So now, under your new leadership as the board chair, well, the president and CEO, you're starting many new initiatives. One of them for the children happens to deal with mental illness. I think a program called GRIT. Is that correct?
Yes. So GRIT stands for Growth Mindset, Resiliency, Initiative, and Tenacity. It's a mental wellness program, and it is designed to meet the needs of today's kids. Coming out of COVID, we still see, and nobody likes to talk about COVID anymore, which is fine, but the residual effects on kids continue. So many kids still isolate. Our school attendance rates nationwide remain lower than they were pre-pandemic. Kids don't necessarily know how to socialize, or many kids don't know how to socialize. You know, we assume that all kids want to play sports. They probably do, but many kids haven't learned the basic skills of sports. So GRIT is designed to reach the mental wellness needs of kids today. There are high rates of depression among kids. Again, isolation is part of this, part of the reason for this. So GRIT is designed to provide kids with the resources to, bounce back, deal with their own issues. It's not the same as clinical help, of course. But one of the things that it does is also provide mental health first aid so that other kids can, or any kid can begin to recognize, the signs of someone in distress. And it basic skills like listening, basic skills like knowing when to escalate a situation. But the sum and substance of this, Dominic, is PAL nationwide is working to reach today's kids in new and different ways. Dealing with mental wellness is one of the most important. Working on technology-oriented programs and getting kids out of their house and socializing is extraordinarily important.
Well, we are chatting with the president and CEO of the National Association of the Police Athletic League, Dr. Steve Cohen. And Dr. Cohen, you just touched my heart because, and I'm being as real with you as real can get without going into details. I just wish the mental health component had been around when I was a child, because many of the kids that you serve have gone through tremendous trauma, like myself. Yes. Many of the kids you serve carry secrets, like I did, that you don't want, that need to be dealt with, and no child should have to bear the burden of these things alone. So it's phenomenal what you're doing for the children nationwide. So you're involved, of course, you have involved a lot of the professional sports leagues. So, for example, you're working with the New York Knicks, is that correct?
Yeah, we just had, the New York City PAL we just had a wonderful event, actually, at your old PAL. I know the building wasn't there, you said, when you were a kid.
Right,
but, the Bronx PAL just remodeled the game room, which is a beautiful space, has, video games, but also traditional games. Another way to really connect kids, get them engaged. That was sponsored by the New York Knicks, and we had a great event there with some of the former Knicks players, the commissioner of basketball. So that was last week. It was a fantastic event.
Wonderful.
One of the things I wanted to mention to you along lines of what you said, the reason why we're about cops and kids is because law enforcement officers are often the first responders to domestic issues, the first responders who see kids in need. PAL was started, and PAL continues to be a way for officers to help kids. And that's extremely important. We work in places and neighborhoods that are, as you said, often very tough places where kids have been traumatized. Maybe kids continue to be traumatized by one thing or the other. And so PAL is about getting them the help that they need, the support that they need to thrive. But law enforcement officers are critical in helping kids because, again, they're the ones who see need up front.
Absolutely. So you're also working with the NHL, I believe, hockey and NASCAR. Those are direct ways to resonate with children, to get their full attention, undivided attention. What's the NHL doing, and how about NASCAR?
Yeah, thank you. So, as you say, these are opportunities to lift kids up. To have the opportunity to be part of something bigger than what they have been or what they're used to, it's really important. So we're bringing in NASCAR and the NHL and other major league sports, the NFL, to work with all of our chapters on programming for kids, and also to give them opportunities, not just for it's important to give them opportunities to go to games. Some of the PAL kids in New York had the opportunity to go to the finals with the Knicks. What a tremendous opportunity. They would never have had that opportunity.
Wait a minute, Dr. Cohen. I didn't hear you correctly. I know I didn't hear you correctly. These tickets have cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. And did I just hear you correctly? You said some of the PAL children got to go to the NBA finals with the Knicks?
They did. A lot of thanks to the New York Knicks for making that happen, and to other individuals who made it happen. I know one story, for example, where an individual gave up 2 tickets to the finals for a young man, an 8th grader, who had worked very hard on a lot of different things around the PAL, really, really wanted to go. And through the generosity of one individual, he was able to go with his mentor.
You know, Dr. Cohen, the reason why this is so important, and this is as personal to me as personal gets. When I had nothing growing up in the Bronx, being raised by my grandmother, PAL, you know, based on what I do for a living today in media, PAL, the Police Athletic League, gave me my first exposure to television in terms of you sent me and other kids to a very popular TV show, children's show called Wonderama, hosted by Bob McAllister. I walked into that studio. I was a contestant in one of the contests. I had to push a peanut with my nose. And that's when I decided at such a young, on a carpet, so it was tough. But that's when I decided at a young age that that's what I wanted to do. So when you're talking about sending kids to the finals with the Knicks, you're changing their lives forever. I still remember that PAL had enough faith in me to put me on the citywide chess team. These are things that kids, particularly kids of color, Black and Latino, but all children, remember for the rest of their lives, and it can decide whether or not they succeed or go on to great things.
Yes, absolutely. And what a great story. And again, you tell it really much better than I can with the impact of PAL. But you're absolutely right. The more we provide opportunities to kids, we open windows. We open windows for them to see the world and see a better future and to see alternatives to, bad stuff that is happening in the world.
Right. You know, so much is made. And I report on it, how these kids are out there wilding, acting a fool, acting like, doing things in fast food restaurants that no one should do. But my point is, I can almost guarantee you that kids that are part of PAL, they're not doing these crazy things out in the street because they know structure. They know there's a better way. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I absolutely would. One study shows that was done about PAL shows that in areas where PAL exists, neighborhoods where PAL exists, there's been an average of 20% drop in crime in those areas, in youth crime in those areas versus, other neighborhoods where it actually increased. That was a study that was done a few years back, but it's valid today. I mean, the reality is PAL saves kids, as you said. PAL saves kids. And part of saving kids is to keep them away from the bad things that are out there. And today, that includes bad things that are happening in cyberspace, as well as, some of the unique things that we see today, such as takeovers on the streets or in malls, are the kind of thing that you were just talking about.
And so we are chatting. I'm wrapping up now with Dr. Steve Cohen, who's the president and CEO of the National Police Athletic League Association. The most important question, because I know the work that PAL does. For people listening, many of our listeners often want to donate. How can they help PAL? How could they contact you or the Police Athletic Association? Yeah,
the best way to thank you, Dominic. I appreciate that. And the best way to reach us is at our website, which is nationalpal.org, nationalpal.org. And if you want to donate directly to the New York City PAL, we'll make sure that happens if you just let us know. Because what they're doing, what you're doing in New York with the PAL, what PAL folks are doing, is just tremendous. And we're very proud to be affiliated with New York City PAL and to have them as a member of National PAL.
So, Dr. Cohen, I'm short on time, but I have to close this way. Why do you do what you do in terms of helping children, in terms of giving back? Why do you do what you do?
Well, great question. Because I care about kids and because I had a similar experience growing up, and there were people there for me who cared about me and who helped me to live, and ultimately helped me to thrive, and that's why.
Well, we thank you very much. This topic near and dear to my heart. I will die a very proud Powell kid, hopefully 100 years from now, but Powell is in my blood. We were just chatting with Dr. Steve Cohen, who's the president and CEO of the National Association of the Police Athletic League, involved in every state. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dominic.
And so on that note, it is time for a break. And when we come back, we'll switch to politics. Politics, the Iran deal. Will it last up? Will it last? What do you folks think? Also, a shooting involving an ICE agent in New Jersey. An ICE agent struck by a van driven by a fleeing suspect. And the ICE agent opened fire on the vehicle, striking it several times. A lot to get to, and we're going to open up the phone lines. All things politics, 800-848-9222.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, folks, let's get to the politics, and there's plenty to get to. 800-848-9222. An ICE agent was hit by a cargo van, a suspect that the agent was trying to apprehend. The agent opened fire on the van. We don't know if anyone was hit, but this happened about, give or take, I'd say about 60 miles outside of Philadelphia. I'm looking at my Twitter at my ex, the lovely Debbie Lobato says, in my opinion, Dominic, I think that New York City is going to be another Minnesota with the ICE agents coming in and the local politicians not wanting them. The cops are not allowed to cooperate. There is going to be a lot of mayhem. What do you think? I agree with you, Debbie, because we have pandering politicians in New York, in the New York tri-state area, 800-848-9222. So the big parade for the Knicks is what, 3 days from now, Thursday. It's going to be very interesting. This from Channel 7 in New York.
Do you know when we're going to learn about the timing of it all?
So we're going to be sharing some additional details over the next few days, but it is going to be on Thursday. There's going to be a ceremony at City Hall. Then there's going to be a ticker tape parade, the first time in Knicks history. And we're also going to be presenting keys to the city to the team.
And I imagine it's going to be a big operation. Everyone in town with the World Cup as well.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of fans here to see the parade. So I'm sure it'll be a big planned security plan, right, going into that.
Absolutely. And I do want to just say thank you to the men and women of the NYPD who've been such a critical part.
And so Mamdani talking to Channel 7, and you know, I do want to say this because I've known him for quite some time. The lead anchor in New York City, Bill Ritter on Channel 7, announcing an Alzheimer's diagnosis, and he says that he realized this starting about 2 years ago when he started to forget people's names and places. And so we wish Bill Ritter well. He'll be stepping down after more than 20 years on Channel 7, diagnosed with Alzheimer's. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And President Trump touting the deal with Iran, but will it last? I question whether or not on the U.S. side, but from the Iranian side, if it's worth the paper that it's printed on. 800-848-9222. In a moment, I'm going to start with your telephone calls, Joe in Riverhead. But I'm looking at my Twitter at my ex, and Donna Marie in Philly, in terms of this deal, stating the bottom line is this is a deal with Iran, and they have a hard time sticking to the rules. I couldn't agree with that more, Donna Marie in Philly. We'll see what happens. I'm also looking up, folks, because pretty boy Gavin Newsom is under investigation, apparently by the Department of Justice. He's claiming, he posted on social media that people that know him have been contacted by federal agents. I don't know the details as of yet for the investigation, but I'll just put it this way. Pretty boy Gavin Newsom couldn't happen to a nicer guy. You are not as slick as you think you are. You are not as slick as your hair is. 800-848-9222. You know what's also interesting, folks? The Secretary, Mark Wayne Mullen, has not ruled out having ICE agents outside polling locations. I don't have a definitive take on that as of yet, but, you know, at some point, the integrity of the election process must mean something. It must stand for something.
If we're going to actually live up to the Constitution, which is what we all swore to uphold, then one thing that is vital that we can't argue about is the only people that should be voting in federal elections are true American citizens. That is clear. And so what the president is doing and what we're wanting to do is make sure that those individuals are the only ones voting.
All right, folks, let's start with your telephone calls. Joe, line 2, Riverhead. What's on your mind, Joe?
Dominic, what is going on with ICE being the bad guys here? They're doing their job.
Absolutely.
They're doing their job. At the same time, we're going to victimize them. We're going to victimize
it's horrible.
them.
It's absolutely horrible.
We're going into New York City doing what we need to do, getting rid of the bad guys, but they're victimized. How is that possible?
It's possible because of politics in our country. Joe, you know how it's possible. That's almost like a rhetorical question you just asked. It's legitimate, the issues that you're raising, but it's horrible. At some point, Joe, we have to stand for law and order. What's so hard about that, Joe? You tell me before I go to Susie or Gail. What's so hard with understanding law and order?
There is no law and order anymore. There is zero law and order. It's the victims are the bad guys, and the bad guys are the good guys. There's no law.
You cannot make this up, Joe. Thank you for that great call. Let's go to Susie, line 1, Lynbrook. Susie, what's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic.
Hi.
About the Iranian peace accord, whatever the heck it is.
Yes.
Give peace a chance, and if they blow it, bomb the bridges. That's it.
As simple as that, huh?
As simple as that. And what that gentleman was just saying is because there's no consequences. And it's really unfortunate. It was also media propaganda with ICE and Democratic propaganda because they're law enforcement. And we're a nation of laws.
Susie,
we have a constitution. We're a nation of laws.
Susie, help me understand this. Help me understand this. You're a logical person. Help me understand this. Why do elected Democrats, why have they demonized ICE for so many decades? This is not new. But now we're looking at the repercussion behind this, where in New Jersey today, you got somebody firing at an ICE agent. Why are elected Democrats demonizing ICE in the manner and way and method that they are?
Because they want these people to get the right to vote so they can constantly have power.
It's as simple as that?
It's as simple as that.
Susie, thank you so much for the great call. Gail in Pennsylvania, stand by. Let me go to Greg on line 2, Vernon, New Jersey. Greg, what's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. Thanks for taking my call. That was a great story of yours when you recounted it to the gentleman from PAL. If I had a little direction in my life, I would have avoided a whole bunch of problems. I'm glad that things worked out well for you. You're a good guy. You deserve nothing but the best. And PAL is a great organization. I had no idea.
Well, Greg, that's very kind and very nice of you to say. I consider myself very fortunate because I know how this script could have gone. And, I don't say things like this lightly. But most of the guys that I knew, that I grew up with, quite honestly, they're either dead or in jail. And I kid you not, I'm embarrassed by it. To this day, I receive correspondence and phone calls from state penitentiaries, guys that I grew up with, and you feel bad for them. But, at a certain point, I have to live my life, and I have to separate, and they chose their situation. And unfortunately, they got to deal with it. Greg, you have the final word before I move on to Gail in Pennsylvania.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you're getting these calls from these guys. That's got to be heartbreaking. I've got some experience with dealing with the similar population. Mm-hmm. Some of those guys, they're in there for a long time. They're doing double, triple digits. They made their own choices, but a lot of them made them really unknowingly. They had no idea what they were getting themselves into.
Right,
I didn't.
Right. You mean like these little savages today that are destroying fast food restaurants because they call themselves celebrating the New York Knicks victory by burning up a bus, by burning up tires from a bus. What happens if the bus blows up in your face, moron? Not talking about you, Greg, but go right ahead.
No, I know. No, I get it 100%, but they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. If they knew what they were doing, they wouldn't be doing it. But they're stupid kids. They don't have any direction. Nobody's telling them, look, what you're doing is stupid. Stop doing what you're doing. Or even before that, don't get involved. They have no direction. Maybe the parent thing, you can't blame it on the schools because, they're useless these days. What they're teaching their kids is just a shame. I guess it really does boil down to the parents. You gotta, if you're gonna have a kid, you gotta be responsible for what this kid does. That's it.
Greg, thank you for the great call. Greg calling from Vernon, New Jersey. I'm not even going to get started. It's too nice of a day. Yeah. I'm not going to get started on those matters. Yep. Thank you very much, Greg. I really appreciate you, man. Let's go to line 3, and the number to reach us right now is open, 800-848-9222. Gail in Pennsylvania. Gail, what's going on?
Hi, Dominic.
Hi, Gail.
Hi. I am very happy with, even if Iran started something again, I'm still happy that they're contained at this moment point, because if it had gone further, we would have lost the ability to contain them. And I think that really was very important, because they were really on their way to more nukes and missiles, as was seen when they hit Europe with a missile. That wasn't even known. So I'm fine with it. And I went to CPAC this past year, and in a room that held about 5,000 people, there were mainly Iranian Americans, not the Islamists, but the regular Persians that were cheering on President Trump. And I saw the Shah, the son of the former Shah, speak. And I really do feel in President Trump's heart, he didn't want to destroy the country for these people, which may be 70% of the population. They are wonderful people. They are they're not Islamists. They were used to living in a modern society. They had to leave. They still have family members there. And I think President Trump, a lot of people were not happy that he didn't go further, but I really think he, in his heart, didn't want to destroy the country further for these people. So now it's up to them.
Well, anyone that knows President Trump knows that he's not a violent man. And on the world stage, clearly he did not want for his hand to be forced. I think that he delivered the best deal that was possible. And what I don't understand, Gail, we have a lot of calls, but before I move on from you, Gail in Pennsylvania, why, Gail, help me understand this, because oftentimes you folks do a great job giving me perspective. Why is it that, granted, we'll take a wait and see approach on Iran, but at least he got something done and he slowed down their progress, as you just said, Gail. So why is it society, the media, I want to say the left, but why won't they give this man his due, some credit?
Well, a lot of people are quite indoctrinated by the legacy media, which is a group of conglomerates, that are controlled by some billionaire leftist CEOs that happen to be power mad. And they know that if they elect their Democrat cronies, they will be able to put on regulations and taxes that can put out their small business competition. Now, mind you, I'm not objecting to businesses growing, but when it comes to really operating like that, that's not free enterprise. You know, when you want to have regulatory control and slam your the small business. I'm a former small businesswoman, and I see clearly how they're doing this.
Gail, thank you for the wonderful call. Just like I expected, you just gave me some perspective, and I greatly appreciate you for that. Thank you. Let's go to line 2. Frank in Bayville. Frank, what's on your mind?
Hey, hello, Dominic. Thank you for taking my call. Quick question for you here. Do you think Israel's being disrespectful in a way to President Trump for sending missiles into Beirut on the man's birthday? I mean, the guy's trying to sign a peace deal here, and Israel keeps firing off missiles. What do you think about this?
Well, this is the best way I can put it, Frank. What appears to the eye is always not the case. So maybe you're correct, and that's exactly what happened. But maybe, and I've been in the room around very powerful leaders, in fact, world leaders, when they'll say, okay, this has to be our position. You take this position to counter us. I understand why you got to do it so that you have political cover. Do you understand what I'm saying, Frank?
I completely understand what you're saying. We are not getting the whole picture. I'm sure there's a lot behind the scenes.
Exactly.
I hear you. I can give you that, but I mean, you got your big brother America trying to help you out here, trying to get
and you make a point.
Peace settled.
You make a great point there.
That's all I'm saying. Thank you for the call, Dominic.
And thank you, Frank. All I'm saying, folks, is maybe Trump and Netanyahu are not seeing eye to eye on this, but maybe it's an illusion to the eye. I'm telling you, folks, in the world of politics, sometimes something that you think is definitive, it's just the opposite. It's just the posturing that's being done in public. Let's go to line 1. Donna in Garden City. Donna, what's on your mind?
My 2 favorite callers are Gracie and Sandra. I learned so much from them. They're my age group, but they teach me so much in their calls. That's all.
Oh, okay. So you like Gracie and you like Sandra.
So informative.
Wonderful, Donna. Thank you for the great call. Line 4, Tom in New Jersey. Tom, what's on your mind?
Okay, at this point in time, it's going to sound cliche, but the way it's supposed to work is parents are your first teachers. So by the time the kid gets to kindergarten, they already know how to act, and it makes it so much easier on the teacher because the teachers are there to teach them, not to raise them. And like I said,
but Tom, my friend, you got it wrong. As long as they can say Black Lives Matter, the little children, that's the only thing that counts. I'm being sarcastic here.
Oh, okay. But you do understand what I'm saying, right?
I do. Yeah. But
it's cliche at this point. It's just like something to say because it doesn't happen.
Right.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen at all, but it should be happening more than it is.
Right. Fair enough, Tom. Thank you for the great call. Dominic Carter here with you, folks. 800-848-9222. It is time for a break, and we are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation final thoughts of the day. I'm looking at a tweet from Gent42, and it makes all the sense in the world. It's so much common sense. He says, Ed Dominic TV, no riots, no bus burnings in North Carolina last night after the Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup. So why no violence with the Stanley Cup? And why the violence with the Knicks? Could it have to do with the fan base? I don't know. Inquiring minds just asking. Back to your telephone calls. Harold, line 2, New Jersey. Harold, what's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, how are you? Thanks for taking my call.
Of course. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to comment. Someone called earlier. They wanted to know if Netanyahu was disrespecting Trump by firing into Beirut.
Right.
If this guy is following what's going on in the Middle East, Hezbollah and other groups are firing directly into Israel. What do they expect Netanyahu to do? Is let him fly and destroy settlements and whatnot up north, in the northern part of Israel? That's not disrespecting Trump. That's protecting their people.
Absolutely, Harold. But I guess we all put on colored glasses to see the perspective that we want to see sometimes. Because the way you just laid it out makes absolutely perfect sense. And Netanyahu's obligation is to protect the Israeli people. Bottom line, you have the final word before I move on.
No, that's it. I just, Israel is always put in a bad light for whatever reason, and I can't really understand it. And if you look at it with common sense, you just realize they're just protecting their people. That's all they're trying to do. What do you want from them?
Right.
What
right.
more?
Thank you. I couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much for the call. Let's stay in New Jersey. Line 3, Sandra. What's on your mind, young lady?
Hello?
Yes. Go right ahead, Sandra.
I'm sorry, Dominic. It's Veronica from Tom's River.
Oh, okay. It says here Sandra. I'm sorry, but you said Veronica from Tom's River? Okay,
yes,
go ahead.
I just wanted to call about the ICE shooting today because it happened where my 2 daughters live.
Wow.
And it happens about a mile away near Wawa, and I just wanted to say I'm just so upset over this. I'm upset over it all the time, but when it comes so close to, where my daughter works as a school psychologist in school and where my grandchildren are all, And
wow.
I'm just going to say something, and I have to say it.
Okay.
We are all in this situation because of President Biden and his administration. And I just wish President Trump all the luck trying to clean up this mess, And I just wanted to call because from a different perspective, traffic was all backed up. It was upsetting today.
Has the traffic cleared up now following the shooting? First of all, which one of these savages is going to fire at an ICE agent? That's number one. But anyway, so things are back to normal now?
Yes, they're back to normal. The kids had a half a day from school, and the buses were running fine, and everybody's safe and sound, and I hope the ICE officer is okay.
Right. Well, the officer fired, they hit the officer, with the van. The officer fired. And it's like, is this Minnesota all over again? How many times are we going to have to go through this of it's not wise to hit a federal officer with a vehicle? Why is that so hard to understand? And first of all, you're being nice. This is all Biden's fault.
Yes,
he's walking around now, like a great former ex-president when you've tied all of our hands with this mess.
Yep. Absolutely. It's just a disgrace, but, it is what it is. It's the situation we're dealing with. So
right, it is.
Thank God we have President Trump.
Yes, thank God we have President Trump, who will go down in history as the greatest American president ever. Thank you for that call. Folks, America's heroes need your help now. Do good in their honor by donating $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers, and you can amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org. The number 2, T.org. I am back live at midnight.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?